Marc Berlin is joining us right now, as I mentioned, the author of Obama Confidential. Hey, Marc, good morning.
Hi, how are you today?
Good, how are you?
Fine.
Now, are you really the author, or are you just kind of a guy who put letters together?
No, I'm no, I'm actually the author. What happened with this book is one day I sat down at my writing desk, like I'm at right now, talking to you, and I was angry about various things happening in the country, so I started composing a letter to President Obama. And when I was done with the letter, I found out the letter wasn't from me for some reason, but it had morphed into a letter from Dennis Rodman to President Obama.
What?
I know that sounds kind of strange, but
Yeah.
I'm a creative writer. I'm not a journalist.
Oh, okay. Wait. Explain how this happened.
Well, I was just
Yeah.
I just
Mm.
wanted to write a letter to Obama about
Oh,
something, and when I came out of my writing trance that I go into as a writer, I found that I had written this humorous letter to Obama from Dennis Rodman, and then I wrote another letter.
Wait a second. You weren't recently over there with Kim Jong-un, were you? Was that really you, or was
No,
that Rodman?
no, that was Dennis. He
Uh,
was in North Korea. That's
uh,
in the book. And then I wrote
okay.
another letter, thinking that was just an aberration, and it turned out that letter was from Warren Buffett to
Oh,
Obama. And then at the end of 3 or 4 months, I had 75 of these similar letters, and I put them in the pages of this book.
gotcha. And I did see, I mean, come on, what props? Abe Lincoln actually calls this laugh out loud funny.
Oh, that's not Abe Lincoln.
Oh,
It's
it
A.
was.
Lincoln.
Just A. Lincoln.
A. Lincoln.
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about Marc Berlin. You're a creative writer, or you said what kind
Yeah,
of a writer?
I'm a writer up here in Concord, Massachusetts, near Boston, but 20 miles outside of Boston. I've been also a screenwriter, and I'm a media executive. And when I have time, I write humor books. This is my third humor book.
Excellent. So, I mean, do you want to give a taste of what some of these letters may be?
Yeah, I'm looking at the table of contents here really quickly. And we have letters from, as I said, Dennis Rodman, Edward Teller Jr. We have one from George W. Bush. We have one from George H.W. Bush. These are all to the president.
Well, I'm just Dennis. Like, what would Dennis write to the president?
Well, I can, let me see. Dennis would write to the president what happened to him, what his observations were when he was in North Korea. So you want me to read a little bit?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Dear this is from Dennis Rodman, March 9th,
Right.
2013. Dear Mr. President, as you know, recently I returned from an unofficial trip to North Korea where I was traveling with the Harlem Globetrotters basketball team. Our time in the DPRK was very interesting, and I believe I was able to pick up a considerable amount of information, not only about the DPRK, but also about its young leader, Kim Jong-un. I spent a total of 4 days with Mr. Kim, and this is what I'm able to report. Despite being the relatively young leader of a single-party police state, Mr. Kim in person seems quite open and friendly, and always greeted me with a broad smile. Most importantly, he loves basketball. During our first meeting at one of the many sprawling government ministries which dot the Capitol, he began screaming at the top of his lungs for no apparent reason. But other than that, he was a genial host throughout our visit. Et cetera, et cetera.
Yes,
I hope you get the idea.
I do. Absolutely, I do.
And there's one from Lance Armstrong. That's probably my favorite in the book.
That's your favorite one?
Yeah. Lance goes on to explain what sort of prompted him to get into trouble with the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, and it's a relatively long letter. I can't read it here online.
Okay, but the book Obama Confidential out and available. We could read these stories ourselves. Strange,
you can read all these.
bizarre.
Yeah, the book consists of, as I said, about 60 letters and 15 responses from Obama in the appropriate cases, as well as some nice, colorful photographs of the goings-on in the letters room of the White House.
Okay, now I want to know something. How did you become into satire? I mean, what was it? Going back to the beginning when you started, what was it about satire that attracted this to you?
Well, that's an interesting question. I'm going to reverse the question a little bit, then I'll answer your question more directly. Satire has been used since ancient Greece by writers.
Dude, I'm not that old. I don't know. I don't.
to comment on the current politics.
Okay.
It goes back thousands of years. Number one, and I've been writing satire since probably seventh grade. When I wrote a satirical piece about Lyndon Johnson when I was in seventh grade, and the teacher got very upset for some reason, and a sort of aha light went up on over my head, and I go, aha! I found a way to make people angry at me.
Okay.
And when you're doing that, you know you're doing the right thing.
Well, it's one of those things that I've always been impressed when somebody is good at it.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, number one, you have to have a sense of humor, and you have to have a sense of balance.
Yeah, but it's like an intelligent sense of humor.
Yeah,
and very much so. And there are those people who are going to read every story in your book thinking that they were written by Dennis and you know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, seriously, you know that.
Yeah,
right?
Possibly. Although there is a pretty big there's a pretty big disclaimer at the beginning of the book.
They'll overlook that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I don't know, but they should catch on pretty quickly.
Okay. It's just one of those things that I'm very impressed with when people can do it and do it well.
Yeah, satire is very important because it's also subversive, and it's a form of rebellion, and it plays a very important part in society. Like, Occupy Wall Street. We need more Occupy Wall Street people and Occupy Wall Street writers like myself.
So you're a big Occupy Wall Street guy?
Right.
Okay.
I am.
Okay.
I don't know where they went. I wish they'd come back.
I went to one of their places in when they were in Baltimore, and I went there with a recorder to find out what they were doing.
Yes.
They had no idea. The people that I talked to had no clue what the heck they were doing.
I see. I went to the one in Boston, and I walked around. It was pretty impressive. They were highly organized,
the ones in Baltimore weren't.
The ones in Philadelphia were not either. I saw them there.
Yeah.
Did not.
Yeah.
It was.
I mean, I saw them in D.C. I saw people, when I was in town. You see them, but I mean, I went personally up to the people about, what do you want? Well, we don't know, but we want it now. Well, we want jobs. Well, you go get a job.
Yeah, well,
okay.
I guess in their heart they felt that they should be there. They just hadn't, contacted their brain yet to sort of coordinate everything.
Yeah, they didn't. All right, Mark. Thank you. What are you working on now?
I'm working on well, thank you for asking that question. That's important. I'm now working on the second draft of a novel, young adult novel for adults, that would make a movie. I make a really, really great movie, and I'll be done with it probably in about 6 months. It's really, really good.
So when you do something like that and you say, there's going to make a kick-ass movie, I want to do this, do you write it with that in mind, that you want to option it for a movie?
Well, my background, I have a background in filmmaking. I was a filmmaker for about 12 years, and I wrote a lot of screenplays, obviously, to do that. And so I have that sort of in my genes, a screenwriter thing.
Okay.
And so I tend to picture everything. Everything is in pictures, and the book just turned out to be like that. So it turns out it would probably make a kick-ass movie when it's done.
All right, and we'll be looking forward to that.
Well, thank you very much.
Maybe we'll get a chance to talk about that next time.
Absolutely.
All right, well, I appreciate you. Obama